Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good day wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the next episode of No Dice, No Glory. Sponsored by our jobs that actually pay us money, we're coming to you not at all live from an abandoned arms factory deep under a mountain in West Virginia. We are proud to proffer to you the finest in wargaming coverage. Without any further ado, let's get this show on the road.
And thank you for that fine introduction. We are here for episode 20, I think we're counting correctly, of Tales of the Sale. And we have a special guest today. So we are joined by our regulars. First, we have Glenn the Farmer Van Meter. Say hi, Glenn.
Everyone.
We have Tyler cooking dinner at 9 p.m. Savage Stone.
Hello, everybody.
And I'm Tom Chairborne Mullane, and we have our special guest, Guy Rhueark from Blood and Pigment. So say hi, Guy.
Hello.
We have a couple things to cover today. We are going to be going around and going down the line of seeing who's been up to what in the last month. As we record tonight, it is the 5th of September. If Mitch has given me good advice on how to actually do this stuff, I'm going to try to edit this the first round through. So if it sounds really bad, I take full responsibility for that failure. I apologize to people that are listening. But I'm going to give it a go, try to make it as gentle on your ears as possible. But it also means that it's likely not going to come out until a little later in the month. It's going to come out hopefully on Tuesday the 14th as you're listening to this. That's assuming I can get stuff edited in an appropriate amount of time. So
yeah, we don't have John Jonah Jameson slamming his fist on the desk demanding our copies, though. So
no, we don't.
It'll happen when it happens.
We're not paid the big bucks for this, since I'm collecting a robust salary of $0 to do this work. But Mitch made it look easy, so we'll see. We'll see if he was lying to me like he normally does. But
if Mitch can do it,
then anyone can. That's fair. So Tyler, let's start with you. Tell us what you have been up to in the month of August and the beginning of September.
Well, first of all, the fire starter for the Bucaniera kicked out. So I have received 8 of those ladies that I've been painting up and trying to get a kind of a walkthrough or a review of the painted minis up for No Dice. And then I've been playing games with the community that we're starting up here at Comic Store West. We had a decent turnout the last time. I think there were 5 or 6 of us who showed up and played kind of a big mess of a sea battle, which I posted about on the Facebook group.
What are your plans for those lovely ladies? Are you going to make them into their own unit, or are you going to mix them in with their male counterparts?
Probably going to mix them in with militia. I'll run them as their own unit when they're around, because I do have 8 of them. And one of them, I was thinking of converting into the French Liberty painting of the lady running with the flag. And one of the boxes that I got, kind of fortuitously, one of the muskets was broken off of that figure. So I was like, okay, I guess that decides it. I'm going to be cutting that musket off and pinning a flag into her hand.
So it's a perfect accident.
Now, which flag are you going to be painting that as, Tyler?
I'd like to do it interchangeable so that I can use her as a standard bearer for any faction, but I'm probably going to start it with just like a red flag. So just the pirate, no quarter kind of flag.
I thought it would be a different red flag.
Yeah, me
it
too.
could be that red flag. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll put like a yellow arm holding a saber or something on it.
I feel like there's a lot of pirate flags that are red. There's at least one pirate flag that's definitely red. Because like Benderson Little's book has a whole there's a picture set of just the different fun flags that they fly.
Most of the I guess most of the pirates on the African coast, so the Barbary Corsairs and things like that, were the ones that used flags as identifiers more so than pirates on the Atlantic or on the in the New World, and most of their flags were red.
I really loved all the ones that have like an hourglass pictured on them because it's adorable. I know that's not the intention of these pirates. Obviously, like, it's supposed to strike fear in your enemies, but it's like, time's up. Like, it just kind of gives you that impression.
I really like how extra Blackbeard's is. It looks like a 12-year-old came up with it, like on the back of a notebook in the middle of class.
Like, he got to pick
like
stickers.
A skeleton stabbing a heart, holding an hourglass with like a head next to it and stuff.
And 3 drops of blood, and it's just all his ideas went on that flag at the same time.
Yeah.
Guy, have you incorporated, because you do your own sales, right? Did you incorporate any of the kind of pirate symbols and any of the stuff you put together?
No, I've done a couple skull and crossbones. I did a ghost ship, but not a spooky ghost ship, but like an abandoned ship that I sculpted some skull and swords on, because I have a tattoo of skull and sword, so I put it on there waving. It was a lot of fun too. You can do a lot with watered down glue and flour sackcloth to kind of get that it stays so it looks like it has wind behind it.
Huh.
In fact, that's what I did with my cavalry. I did a freebooter that I cut out. The one that has his that's running with a foot up in the air holding a musket. I cut off the musket and drilled a hole to put a metal pole there that I could use as a flagstaff. And then I did the same with one of the cavalry. So I have a French cavalry standard. That's the square that has like some fancy French writing, like it has a fleur-de-lis on it, and the banner they put underneath it. It's really from, I think, the 1730s, but I did it because it looked cool, and I was doing a bunch of cavalry. But I have that on flour sackcloth so I can move it between the freebooter and the cavalry. And I did a Sally Rouge, that you're talking about, the flag of the fort.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did one of those too, and my pirate flag, just so I can swap them between them. And it's just the flagstaffs I have on those models is too large compared to the ship's flagstaff, so I can't move them between the ships and the units. I was always disappointed at that, because if I try putting one of the the skull and crossbones or skull and swords, I put a lot of effort into making it look cool and worn, but if I put it on the cavalry, it just like flops down and falls down the flagstaff, so it's like right next to his hand. It's terrible.
Well, that started out as a way for us to make fun of Tyler, and I wound up learning something. And I feel like that's the way it should be. Every time I make fun of Tyler, I learn something new about crafting or history. So Glenn, what have you been up to?
Well, it's been a busy month. I was supposed to go up and visit Tom in Connecticut, but surprise, the kids got sick with hand, mouth, and foot. And that was 2 weeks of less than fun. Yeah, if anybody hasn't ever seen that, it's kind of like chicken pox, but it only affects the hands, mouth, and feet area, and it's bad. And then yeah, aside from that, that's going to play into things later as well. But aside from that, BattleTech Wave 2 showed up, and oh my god, so many more minis just flooded my basement. I've spent honestly most of my time trying to deal with that and get everything put away. So, hasn't been a big Blood and Plunder month for me.
But you still have stuff to paint. You have plenty of it.
So
I was able to see.
I'm sorry, for which system? Because, dear God, yes.
For all the systems.
Pick a system that I play. I have stuff to paint. Yeah.
So I can attest that that Glenn has plenty of things to paint, because the highlight of my month was that I got to see that Glenn is a real person and not just a figment of my imagination, because I used the last of my summer vacation to come down and visit.
Not just a COVID ghost at this point.
not just a COVID ghost, because we haven't seen each other in person prior to that for it's been 2 years, right? 2.5 years.
I was gonna say, I think the last time I saw you in person was at the Fall-In when we were just like, what if we did a podcast?
What if we did a podcast? It's like at least 2 years ago, maybe 3.
Yeah, fall of 2019.
Oh, COVID, you're the best. So yeah, I was psyched. I got to see you. We got to play a bunch of games. I got to come with you while you dropped off some of the BattleTech to a friend of yours in an abandoned mall, like a drug dealer.
Now, don't lie. That is one of the biggest game stores you've ever set foot in.
It was a pretty cool game store, and I really wanted to have time to play a game in there but they had a whole tournament going on. They had a card tournament. They had a bunch of guys playing tabletop. It was a beautiful store,
room.
and there was still room. Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Did you guys go to Critical Hit or?
No, this was there's a place called Tables and Towers in Westminster Mall that I'm gonna see if I can like. Our club is not thrilled about the place we were going. I don't want to name them, but
right.
We're kind of starting to seek out other areas, and with a lot of our club being kind of northish at this point, Tables and Towers in Westminster might be a place for us to go. But I gotta check it out. Talk to the management because they're more of a 40K store at the moment. So,
but they seem like pretty open minded to kind of anything that people want to play because they also have a lot of space for D&D stuff. Like they have a separate space for that. You can rent playing space if you have like a big game to do. So I think definitely try it out. I wish we had time, but we wound up having less time than we thought we would. And also, go ahead.
I was gonna say Tom got the full Maryland experience.
Oh yeah, I did. We regretted Tyler. Crabs? Yeah, he gave me crabs. I like how you phrase that.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we actually regretted not inviting you down. But at the time, we didn't know that I was going to be chilling there for the whole weekend. So we would have all gotten crabs together. I carefully phrase. Boy, Tyler, I wish you could have had crabs with us.
For anyone around the globe that doesn't know, Maryland is famous for its steamed blue crabs from the Chesapeake Bay. So we got a dozen crabs, some shrimp, some local sweet corn, which we're also fairly well known for.
And I really like the cool farmers market you had down the road was really cool too. So
yeah, that's where we buy a lot of our groceries.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So yeah, we had a nice little feast on the back porch.
And I ate an entire pint of ice cream and a whoopie pie. Because like I'm on vacation and no prison bill can hold me because this was the last weekend before I went back to school. So I got back. And then on Monday I had a report for training. And then the first day of school for me was September 1st because I teach in New York. Our training on Monday consisted of them telling us, oh gosh, we don't really know what the rules are regarding this, and this. And I was like, that's really helpful. So school started as we record this podcast. It went fine. I like the students that I have. I played a game of Blood and Plunder with my military history class, and they're going to be continuing to play around with it when we return from the holiday break. New York schools in our area typically have off for Jewish holidays as well, so I don't return for classes until Thursday. And as we record this, it's late Monday night or normal Monday night, as far as Guy is concerned. Because this is a cool one because when we had Joe, I guess that counts too. But
he does count.
He definitely counts. So that's we're podcasting across multiple time zones now because you're out in the West. So Guy, tell us a little bit about what you've been up to because you've been up to a lot.
Well, starting small, today I started putting together my second Corvette.
Ooh.
For Blood and Plunder, and it's a lot of fun sanding. I thought about doing a wooden base, but that foam was sitting right in front of me, and I didn't have the wood one yet, so I'm going foam again. And
kudos to you, because I can't get myself to even start the first one.
Oh, it's such a cool looking ship. I wanted a second one, but I wanted to do lateen sails on this one and have it more of as a galley, because the most fun I've had with the Corvette is using it with the Spanish Corsairs as a galley, essentially, and moving 4 inches against the wind and backwards, or 3 inch backwards. So I was going to have it with two lateen sails and buy some oars to put on the side, like sticking out.
How many Corvettes do you have? Because you have the one you're going to give away, which we'll talk about.
No, that's a sloop.
That's a sloop. That's a sloop. That's a sloop.
I only have one Corvette built right now, and this would be the second one. But I kind of I had a lot of fun with the first one because I cut a extra pair of gun ports in the poop deck, so I made it a 10-gun Corvette.
Ooh.
Which is a lot of fun. It's essentially a light frigate, but cheaper and smaller points, and it blows up like a garden shed because it only has 4 and 4. But it's a lot of fun. You can put a lot of 10 medium guns on this tiny ship, moving 5 and with a slim profile. It's a lot of fun to sail. But
well, and speaking of sailing, most of our podcast is going to be focusing on the campaign itself, which Guy has been the principal architect of, I would say. And so us three, as gentlemen of honor and respective generals of some of the factions here, we have mentioned this before. We've spent some time kind of giving people updates on our site, on No Dice, No Glory. And I've made an effort to try to link to some of the reports, because Guy, you've been the publisher of the newsletter, correct?
The campaign newsletter. We've done 7 of them. I had them coming hot and fast in the beginning, but then I thought giving it 2 weeks between each was nice. So that's what I've been doing in the end.
And at this point, as we record this, how many total submissions have you received in terms of games?
We have gotten 253 entries so far for this. So
I think that's a pretty respectable amount. I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, both players on either side of the table can submit, but we were talking prior to the podcast, like, I haven't really submitted anything from my side of the table, so I'm sure there are a lot of people where only one person is sending in the games.
Yeah, I think I submitted the report for Mayan and Nigel Vegas game, and I don't think he submitted it himself. I think he just assumed that my submission served for both of us. But yeah, like, both players can submit, because
they should too.
And they should.
Because if I get a email that says I played a game against the French and I was the Spanish, I'm only counting that as a Spanish game. That's maybe something in the future that we need to do. But it's been a fun campaign so far. We've had over 250 entries. This is the 5th, 5 days left in the campaign, and it is neck and neck. Really?
You want to just read off the standings so we can get an idea of how close this is? Because you sent this to us over the Facebook message, because all the generals and stuff are just trash talking each other on a Facebook group text.
Except me. I have not trash talked at all, because I know I'm the general for Scotland, Portugal, Sweden, and Denmark, and we're just happy to be in the race for all 4 of those nations.
The real campaign is the friends they made along the way.
Yeah,
Tom really just means myself and Dan.
Yeah. Glenn keeps making fun of Dan for not having this is Dan Carlson, for not having any Blood and Plunder minis, because Dan always submits a lot of Oak and Iron reports.
So I mistakenly said, I think on the last podcast, that he's an O&I guy. He doesn't play Blood and Plunder.
Oh, he took that so personally.
He was not happy about it. I think he sent us pictures of his models, and I think you replied with something like, "Those are really big for oak and iron models." Like you just didn't stop.
It's
trolling on
constant. Every time you post something, I'm gonna have some way of linking it back to like, oh, you're finally getting a BMP, or who'd you steal those models from, or something.
I think that was your first question after saying they looked a little big. Was like, oh, did you buy that collection fully painted, or like what yard sale did you pick that up from, or something like that?
Yeah, I think he's getting genuinely upset about it, which means that we should continue doing exactly what we're doing right now. I will say that from the perspective of the generals, so you have several generals here. So Guy mentioned that he's the commander of many minor powers. I am the Spanish commander. Glenn is the Dutch commander. And Tyler, you are, remind me.
French.
You're French.
Yes.
And as it stands, Guy, what are the standings?
In the lead right now, as of the 5th, in the lead is a tie between the Dutch Republic and Brethren of the Coast. Each of them have 40 games.
And just for the record, that's my faction and Dan's faction.
Yep. In second place is Spain with 39 games.
Woo!
And after that is France with 38. Yep. And the last of the best is England with 36 entries, which they had a big push. They were leading for a long time, but it's kind of dropped off a little bit.
And this is tight. Like this is this is anybody's game. And so we're kind of jumping ahead a bit, but just explain for people that are listening what will happen when things shut down. So like on the 10th, when we accept the last of the reports, what's the process? What happens next?
Well, on the 10th or really it's on the 11th at midnight is what we're with the cutoff for the emails. At the 11th at midnight, no more entries can be given, and I've already started, but I'll go about the process of totaling up games, and I'm going to recheck my work to make sure that I didn't miss anything. And then the person who wins is going to get a sloop that I painted with cloth sails sent to them, no matter where they are in the world.
And explain winning, because it's not just like whoever plays the most games. You can have a drawn out of a hat thing, right?
Yeah.
It is the winner will be determined by the player that of the winning faction or the winning nationality. We will randomly determine a winner from the people who played that faction. No matter if the person played 1 game or 10 games, everybody will have a equal chance to win out of that group.
So if Spain wins, anybody who submitted a Spanish game has a chance.
Yes.
Of pulling it off. Yeah.
Now that's to win the sloop. There are a couple other prizes provided by Firelock Games that are also pretty good. For instance, Firelock Games is giving 3 random people out of the winning faction $100. Then another person will get $50 in store credit, and a third person will get $25 in store credit. So that is also pretty nice. In addition, 5 random players from the winning nation will also get a oak and iron starter core set.
This is a pretty generous
What was
set of
that?
prize support. They get an oak and iron starter set.
No, how many?
5 people.
5.
Wow.
5 people.
For the record,
good on these guys.
I was literally able to hand the oak and iron set from last month's prize to Brian's. I got it on its way to Brian Reed today.
Oh, good. Okay, so Brian got his kit.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool. But yeah, they're giving out 5 oak and iron core sets to 5 people from the winning nation, And then in addition to that, out of everybody that played, we're going Blood and Pigment is going to send them a out of everybody that played, we have to see how many people total played. But we're going to send either 1 in 10 or 1 in 5 people a organized play miniatures and a random unit that we have.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, like, and a handful of our commanders, myself included, are not included in the prize support, which I specifically requested because this is about glory. Okay, it's not about prizes. I don't think Glenn left himself out of there because Glenn's greed, like that of the Dutch, knows no bounds. And I'm going to keep throwing this out here because I'm thinking to myself, it is the 5th as we record. If I can actually get this edited on the 6th, I can post it on Tuesday the 7th, and I'm gonna try my best to do that, so we can get it out before the final submission. Because
no promises, but just to correct you, Glenn did. He is prize void. It's actually you who.
This is news to Glenn.
Oh no, I thought Tom was saying I was very generous in giving out prizes because I've sent prizes to I think 3 different Dutch players for.
Oh wow, yeah.
Because my open, I had a relatively open bonus, which was sink, capture, or burn an enemy vessel, and if you do it, I don't care if you're first, second, third, whatever. If you did that, you're getting stuff.
Actually, you, Tom, that's not prize void right now.
I did specifically tell you to void me.
Yeah, but you didn't state it as I asked.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You put it in a big paragraph.
I felt more grandiose about it. All right, so please accept this as my formal request not to receive any prizes.
I just want to point out that Tom is always the teacher complaining that students can't follow the essay requirements, and at the time I pointed out that, Tom, you need to follow the essay requirements.
Yeah.
Once again, Tom finds himself under conditions that make him furious. So I will say that Glenn sent out a bunch of prizes. He's been pretty generous, and I made my prizes, and I have mailed all of them out at this point. So this is those are all the custom objectives. I posted them in a couple of the articles that I put up for No Dice, No Glory. And 2 of them got mailed to Canada, so I've gotten to really enjoy learning about U.S. customs law. It's hilarious going to the post office and having a very disinterested federal employee ask you what's in the box, and you going like, treasure, and then he's like, okay, but like, what is the cash value of this treasure? And I was like, I don't know, $20.
Yeah.
And he just puts $20 on the form. He's like, do you want insurance? And I'm like, no. So it's gotten to the 2 guys in Georgia that it was sent to. I'm pretty confident. And the 2 guys in Canada, I have tracking numbers. It should be arriving soon because I mailed them like middle of last week. And so it's on the way. And these are all custom objectives that I made. I made like 30 of them at a time. And so everybody gets a set of 3. Except the guy who submitted a Spanish versus Spanish fight. So I sent him 4 objectives instead of 3 objectives.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because he gets a bonus for playing into my game of trying to get as many Spanish games submitted as humanly possible. So let's just talk.
Too.
Yeah, it helped me gain some ground, I think. I'm excited to find out who pulls it off. I just hope that Dan doesn't win because he's never going to let us live it down. I feel like he's going to send Glenn mocking mail, like actual mail, being like, "How's it feel like to lose?" with like no signature on the mail. It'll never end.
Yeah, but I'll notice it's posted from Oregon or wherever he's from, and I'll just send him back a mini with like, "Look, it's your first BMP figure."
That's actually I kind of hope Pirates win. I'm tipping my hand a little bit here because I said
fitting,
that
actually.
I would paint flags for the ship of whatever nation wins. And if it's a pirate flag I have to paint, because I already figured out I'm going to do a large ensign for the gaff, kind of on the line that's on the edge of the gaff, so it hangs down. And I'm going to do a flag for the top that's kind of long and waving. And I wanted to do running flags on it too, on the forward jib line. So I'm gonna flag it up, and if I have to do a bunch of black and white pirate flags, that sounds kind of fun.
I heard a lot of complicated nautical terms that translate to me as I'm unfairly favoring one of the other factions. So
Well,
I'm gonna keep my eye on you from out here in Connecticut.
Mostly because the main problem here is that Tom, as a Spaniard here, is only hearing if any other faction wins, it's pirates.
You're all pirates. I mean, I don't even call Glenn Dutch. He's a dirate. Is a Dutch pirate. That's the thing.
I figured we'd be rebel scum at this point just because of the past history with Spain.
All of the Caribbean is my bathtub, and you guys are just in it. You're just annoying rubber ducks that won't go away.
Thanks, Bert.
You're welcome. So Guy, talk a little bit more about the campaign, about how did this come about, and like whose idea was it to start?
Well, we had done a campaign for the Raise the Black Kickstarter, and before that, we did it was a prize giveaway from Blood and Pigment for the Raise the Black Kickstarter, where as Blood and Pigment we gave a galleon away to someone in Europe and someone in America. And then before that, we had a painting, or not a painting contest, a picture contest, where we collected a bunch of pictures from people. And I was trying to come up with a way that we could do a picture contest as well, but have it not be subjective, because although Joseph had a lot of fun doing that, I thought it would be cool if we could do something where people just send us pictures and something happens with them doing that. So
Well, it looks like you got a lot of submission. It's been cool because we have access to the same email that Guy does, because we check to see when people submit for our faction if they've met any of the little bonus objectives that we gave people. So we were given access to it, so I'll pop in and see. And people submitted a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of great games to see. Speaking about that, what is your favorite thing about the campaign so far? As the guy who's seen the big picture, you're kind of overhead with an aerial view. Favorite thing?
I got a couple of things that I'm favorite about that. The first one would be that I got other people to come up with oak and iron rules for the faction, for the nationalities that aren't in oak and iron that I'm in charge of. So
cool.
I came up with Danish Rules, because nobody has played any Danish games yet except me. So I thought, hey, here's some Danish rules. Denmark, at the time of the early early 18th century, they actually had a pretty good fleet, and they were constantly at war with Sweden, essentially. So I came up with the rules for them and posted it, and then I had some other people, because it was a secret objective, come up with rules for Portugal and now rules for Sweden. And as a part of requirement of that, because I wanted to boost up the Swedish and Portuguese numbers, they had to play a game with the new rules they made up. So it was kind of cool seeing, I always want to encourage people to play outside of the box, to come up with their own stuff, and not be afraid of that. And it was cool seeing people do that.
I have fun imagining, in the absence of any historical record that I've looked at, what the petty reason would be for the war between the Danes and the Swedes. And I think back on some of the awesomely petty reasons that some European countries fight each other, particularly in the 16 and 1700s. It's there's a war that this like I think Florence fights like Lucca over a customs dispute, and Florence doesn't like want to pay for the tax on salt, so Florence stops importing any salt, and that continues after the war is over. So if you go to Florence today, they still don't use salt in their bread, so their bread tastes terrible because they're still petty about the war that they lost to Lucca like 700 years ago. I say it's So you gotta love a game that gives you an opportunity to put flavor in it like that with the Danish rules or Swedish rules. Other fun things, other favorite things.
I got somebody to put ice on a battlefield because as a secret mission, kind of the secret missions
I
have
saw
been
that
one
one.
of my favorite thing. I put as if you play as the Swedish and use ice as a terrain in the water, and I had somebody sent just like a battlefield with ice cubes on it. I loved it. It's
Yeah, that one
really
made me laugh. I saw the picture.
I may know those people.
kind of. I'm really happy the secret objectives worked. I kind of thought they wouldn't at first when we were first. I was kind of like first coming up with the campaign and like spitballing it. I had the idea that we could like reward people as the game gets, and then let people know, hey, somebody won something, and then they would parse our newsletters for clues and try, and that's happened a little bit. So that kind of surprised me.
I was psyched about that, and I think, like at first, I think all of us did this. I think I'm speaking for Glenn and Tyler when we made ours too clever.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I think we all did that.
I tried to be sneaky and be like, "Oh, it's a secret," and figuring, "Oh, well, I'll be able to parse through these, and somebody will stumble across it." But then I just decided, well, I'm just going to be explicit about it because, like, I want to give out the prize. So we both just started to be more obvious, and it helps to have a platform like the Blood and Pigment blog and the newsletters, as well as like No Dice No Glory, because we'd throw out a campaign update occasionally too.
Yeah, you guys had a couple of great articles. Yeah,
and and it was just, and I was just like, this is what you need to do, and as soon as they knew what they had to do, they went after it. And in several cases, people would even post in the email submission to you guys, like, oh, like I'm shooting for this one, and this is,
that was really convenient too.
It was I very much appreciated that on the part of the people that did it.
I did like that. I also was trying to be way too clever in the beginning. In the initial announcement article that I wrote, I actually used the image of Blood and Pigment's fortification rules in the bottom as a hint. Hey, use fortification rules. Why is this picture of fortification rules here? It has nothing to do with the article. It's a clue you need to use. And nobody got it.
No, absolutely not.
Nobody got it.
Nope.
I'm sure most people thought what I thought, was like, boy, those are some cool rules. Oh boy, what a cool fort! Such a cool fort. Boy, I wish I had a fort like that. Yeah, like that's the only thing that went through my head.
Yes.
So speaking of like being too clever by half, this is something you'd want to run again. We definitely want to run more campaigns. So what were some things that you'd want to improve, or things you'd want to see added in a future campaign?
Well, with how successful this has been, it hasn't ended yet, but I'm thinking it's successful. We've had a lot of players. We've had a lot of engagement, with people. A lot of people have started their own No Peace Beyond the Line campaigns, and they'll actually send reports in. I think the structure that we have for the campaign is appropriate, and the only thing that I would want to do is encourage some of the stuff that I've been seeing that I've taken advantage of in the newsletters. Things like when somebody sends us a battle report, like that happened a lot, where they'll send us a little description of what the game was, and or they'll send us. We had a couple of people send us poems about their game. And
I read a few of those.
Were they playing Pardal? Please tell me they were playing Pardal.
No, I think
no.
This contributed to the thing between Dan and I, because my friend Ben was playing in our No Peace Beyond the Line campaign. I of course was playing the Dutch, but he's playing the pirates, and his character Jack Blackheart was going on a bunch of adventures, and Dan was like using this and feeding it into his stuff. And I don't think I ever published the letter I meant to send where we notified everyone that Jack Blackheart has been captured. So
Yeah, well, it got into campaign newsletter 7. Was the fall of Jack Blackheart in its own section. Yeah, there as a kind of a epic poem. It's beautiful. So there was those. There was also a couple other things that people. So I would want to, like, with another campaign in the future, have mechanisms in there that we lay out in the beginning that people can use to take advantage of it. You know, where it's more personable. I still really like, my favorite part about this campaign is the low barrier to entry. Just so anybody that has 10 figures and a tabletop filled with boxes and green hedges that they have, or for hills, can play a game and send it in. So that's kind of that's been really good to see.
Yeah, totally agree with that. I think yeah, it's, you want to get people playing games, you want to build a community, and this was a great way to do it. So
I've definitely seen some college student type tables come in where it's like a table, there's some textbooks to act as hills, and like pieces of paper that have literally like woods written on them.
Yeah.
And if that's all you can do
combing
to play,
through to find photos for the
great.
newsletters, I was seeing a lot of the same thing. It's like, and I think Guy, whenever you said that you had done the photo challenge earlier, I think that was part of the issue with that one, is that people were like, well, I don't think my camera work is good enough, or I don't have nice enough terrain or nicely painted minis. And this one, it's like people are playing with bare metal, like shoebox terrain, because you just have to take the picture to send it in. So there's been some really cool photos, and then there's been photos that are like, we played a game, here's my proof.
I think one thing I might throw out there as like a fun suggestion for next time is, like, you did give shout outs in the newsletters, but to have like almost like little paper plate awards at the end where, regardless of faction, you say, okay, you know, the coolest looking table that somebody made, or like, you know, like the most colorful description, you know, of a battle that was submitted, you know. So you have all these different ways for people to kind of share their love of the hobby in ways that wouldn't just necessarily be submitting the game.
Yeah, and that's something
like superlatives, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And things like, you know, best battle description or battle report would encourage people to, like, it's not mandatory. You can just report the battle with the 4 lines of information.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it would encourage people to write a battle report, especially if they think they have some kind of writing talent.
So speaking of battle reports, standouts, and things like that, let's talk about. So you've gone through all these emails, okay, and you put a lot of work into this. You and Joe and the guys at Blood and Pigment. Who are some of the most impressive battles or standout participants that you'd like to give a shout out on the podcast as we're chatting about this today? Like people that submitted a lot of reports or that you were really impressed with. If you can think of any that come to mind.
There's been a couple standout ones, and the kind of the first one that brings in mind is the I hope I'm pronouncing it right, the Swaters. These are, I think they are siblings, but they have been battling this whole time in Oak and Iron against each other, and they have beautifully painted ships. They have a great but they do like they've been doing one game a week of this kind of like toss and turn battle between it, and they usually have the same objective or that they're chasing, so it will move from from like I think it was the pirates trying to get the Spanish treasure fleet, so they lost it the first 2 times, and then like Dan was commenting on you lost the treasure fleet, go out there and get it again, and then like 2 weeks later, after 2 more battles, it would be we finally captured the treasure fleet, and it's been fun watching that. It's just seeing like those because also it's Colleen and Garrett are sending us each side of the battle too, and they might be a husband and wife, but there's a third person that comments in every once in a while. So that's why I think they're siblings, you know.
Oh, because when I was dealing with them because they managed to win one of the kill capture sync prizes. And I
Mhm.
think wife was referenced, so I think you're correct in that. I think there might be a married couple in there. But
Okay,
yeah, I
yeah.
have noticed the deluge of emails from that particular address coming through.
I will say, if it is a married couple that either listens to this or reads the reports, if you found somebody who plays these kind of games with you, then you've married well. So
Yeah.
I'm glad for you, both of you. You're both awesome. So thanks for
All I have to
submitting
add
stuff.
is I'm going to stay silent for fear of my life.
Dun dun dun.
I've also enjoyed the games that we've gotten from places that I didn't really expect. Like we've had a couple entries. It was from Russia. His name in Cyrillic, I think it translates to Jacob Alexander. But he sent in like three games, and he has some beautifully painted Blood and Plunder miniatures. And with Dan is a huge Russiophile, so it was cool seeing these here, and it's like, hey, with the original idea of doing a global campaign, we weren't sure how many people we could get to join in from places that aren't America, because although we know that the UK has a scene, and there are other scenes in Europe. There's the Firelock recently published the book in Spanish. We weren't sure if like we would be able to get a hold of them, or if they would want to even like participate. And that's kind of like why we did the prizes are meant to be so tiny, so we could ship it over there.
Yeah, there's definitely a club in Mexico. I don't recall seeing any submissions from them.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I'm not saying that they didn't.
We might have missed it.
Just
Yeah, we might have
scrolling
missed
through.
it.
Yeah, I could have missed it.
There's a
'cause
lot
I
of
actually still need to go back through and double check that nobody hit. I was going to give them until the end of the campaign to hit the French challenge that is out
yeah.
there. So I
I've
need
seen-
to sift through and see if anyone's hit it. I think right now, the last I checked, it was like a coin toss. There were a couple people who had.
Oh, cool.
Well, we're at the hour mark basically, so we have a couple of other kind of like housekeeping things for us to do, and then I'll give Guy the last word at the very end to kind of do any final plugs or talk about upcoming stuff. But Glenn, we have unfinished business. We have to talk about bets.
No.
Do you want to talk about what happened this past month?
I was about to ask, are you looking at the wrong outline? Because I had literally had bet time starting with unfinished business last month, whereas this time I'd gotten rid of it. But
No.
No. I was looking at this. I know what we're about to announce, so I assume that it fits. So you don't womp me.
The last time, Tom and I decided that we would throw out personal challenges out the window, or out the porthole, or what have you, and we would simply go with another core box challenge because
Something easy, something together.
The Spanish one went really well. I had my best painting month ever when we did the Spanish challenge with like
Hey, me
60
too.
something models. And then this month we were supposed to paint up the O&I core box, which Mike personally assured us was easy to paint. And I think that was our downfall, because both of us, I think, assumed that it would be easy to paint, and we just kept putting it off and doing other things.
I told you guys. I'm pretty sure
Mike wasn't wrong. Mike wasn't wrong. He was right, and it is easy to paint because I assembled it and then primed it in like an hour, and then I just said, oh, you know what? I can paint this later because
I got them half done. I got them half done in about 2 hours. But yeah, between my kids getting sick and Tom coming down and all that stuff, I just was not in the mindset to paint, and I let it go.
Yeah, I let things get ahead of me, and then school started, so we failed. And the consequence for us, we both failed. The consequence for us, though, and it's going to be interesting, is this is kind of a penalty that we had on the back burner from a previous time when we actually passed. So we're like,
no, this was specifically for this bet. No, the previous one was.
Oh, it was. Okay, I hadn't written it down properly. So, go ahead and tell the people what we each get to do.
So as a penalty, we each have to paint the other person a commander mini from the upcoming Raise the Black Kickstarter when the models arrive.
And I think that's a fun one.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I don't know. I don't think it has to be one of the legendaries. It could just be one of the ones out of the box. Okay. Like Maynard or Blackbeard.
All right. I was just typing in my challenge to you, which I know you're not going to accept, but that's okay.
Should you choose not to accept this?
I feel obligated. All right. So, Glenn, talk about your goal for this time.
Oh, good lord. Well, my goal that I'm setting for myself, because anybody who looks at photos of me having painted stuff and posting it on Facebook will notice that they're on these wooden sticks that I paint on, and I think I have 5 or 6 of them. But right now, all of my wooden sticks are full. Every single one of them has minis on it that aren't painted yet, or they're half painted. So my choice is to finish the Canadian Militia that I have on sticks and the Oak and Iron chips that are also on sticks. And on top of that, paint 8 Dutch minis. Probably deleting.
All right. Okay. My challenge to you, having been to your house and seen it for myself, is I need to spend some time painting people a picture of Glenn's game room because it's an awesome space. He actually has a pretty good sized space in his basement. There's a little side area for painting. He has a TV down there. He has a really comfortable chair, and he has a raised gaming table. But all the stuff that he has, and he has a substantial hobby hoard, as we all do, is very unorganized. And as a result, it's difficult to walk through parts of it, which is I think it's doable because like if you just reorganize stuff and shift stuff and box a few things, it's such a cool space. So my challenge to you, which I know you're not going to accept, is to organize your basement gaming room.
What's crazy, Tom, is I've already gone through and organized several times, and every nook and cranny is pretty much filled already. So at this point, it's a matter of getting rid of things, or just having essentially getting rid of things.
Is that why you were giving me so many fun things?
Some of it.
Door because you didn't want to keep them in your game room.
I just like to give things away.
It's a mix of generosity and desperation.
I acquire so much stuff that like I'd rather just hand it out to other people to let them game, or if I have a gazillion models, somebody else can build and paint and use some because I'm never going to use all of them.
That's fair. Which brings me, so you are accepting
my own
Canadian Militia and the Oak and Iron chips plus 8 Dutch minis. It's pretty ambitious.
Yeah, but I think
if I can finish the Canadian Militia fast enough, you can use them in my challenge.
But then I don't win anything, so who cares?
Well, I mean, if I draw your name out of the hat, you still win something from me.
I don't want free stuff. I just told you I was trying to.
We just went over this, Tyler. We just went over this. All right, so my goal this time is I've started using a foam cutting table to make bricks and walls and stuff, because I'm starting to experiment with building my own foam core drain. And I've started it, but as I've gotten into it, I'm realizing just how labor intensive this is. I have to seal it with Mod Podge. I have to finish construction of it. I have to cut more pieces. And so it's quite elaborate. So I'm building this kind of coastal fortification that has room for 2 cannons. I've built some ladders for it. And it's meant to be just kind of like a fun coastal centerpiece thing. So there's a lot of work to be done on it. And my challenge to myself is to finish it by the end of September, by the end of the month, which I think is doable, but I'll have to actually set aside time to do it because school has started and I'm not as free and clear as I used to be over the summer. Glenn, what is your challenge for me?
Build me a table worthy of tournaments. Essentially, I don't think we have enough tournament tables. We're going into Historicon. Tom had previously talked about one of his challenges that he previously failed, building tournament tables or something along those lines. So I challenge him to get 1 done, which I believe we'll use the previous requirements of, I think it was a road, 3 or 4 buildings on like 3 pieces of scatterbrain.
Yeah.
I think that was.
You know what?
We can double check the requirements, but that was.
I'm gonna be stupid. I'm gonna make a bad decision here, and I know it's a bad decision as I'm making it. I'm going to accept Glenn's challenge. I'm going to build this table.
You could work your coastal fortification into the table.
Yeah, let's say that counts as a building. So I'm going to put in the notes. So 3 buildings, a road, and 4 pieces of scatters. 3 scatter.
Sure.
We'll do
4
scatter. 3 scatter terrain. You want 4 now because I was stupid enough and I bid against myself. This is why I can't buy cars. Because they'll be like, the sticker price is 21,000. I'll be like, do you say 23? They're like, yes, that's what I said. All right, so
Tom's one of the Americans that prefers the quarter pounder over the third pounder. It's bigger.
It's bigger. It's bigger, Glenn. All right,
bigger number.
It's a bigger number. I showed that to one of my students, and they were like, yeah, but it's bigger. And I'm like, I don't know how this public school has failed you, but I'm really sorry. Like, I'm sorry that I played a part in this. I did my best.
You just go and harangue their math teacher.
Oh, Lord, I don't even know.
You have the power to do this. You probably know this person personally.
I do, and I know it's a good math teacher, so it's not their fault. Something went wrong some other time. All right, so
that kid ain't right.
That kid ain't right. So Tyler, trivia question. Go.
All right.
Walk us through.
So I had the trivia question last time.
Wait, real quick. Hold on.
Oh,
Guy, do you have a D12 on you?
Ooh, yeah, Guy.
Ooh, I do not have one within arm's reach. I have one in the other room.
Can you go grab it? Go get it. Go get it.
Run.
Sweet.
I figured this would be the fairest way to do it.
So while Guy is going to get that, go ahead and walk us through what is at stake and what the question was. All
right, what's at stake? The prize is 2 blisters of European sailors and 1 blister of weapon upgrades. The question to win the prize was, in March of 1693, Laurent de Graaf married the beautiful Anne du Levu, known in English as Anne that God Wants. But maybe we shouldn't envy de Graaf's luck with women just yet. Not only was Anne fully prepared to shoot de Graaf for insulting her, but she was also not his first wife. In fact, one of the earliest records of de Graaf's activities was his 1674 marriage to a Spanish woman from the Canary Islands. What was this woman's name?
Lorenz, you rogue.
The answer, her name was Francoise Petronia de Guzman. I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly, but I don't think she really cares at this point. And we had a flat dozen winners.
To be fair, I included everyone who got the name mostly correct because I think we had a couple of saying it was Francisca Petronilla or just Petronilla.
Yeah, there were some various spellings rattling around. There were some
that can easily be attributed to poor history record keeping.
Yes. That's totally fine. All right, so Guy, roll us a D12 and tell us what number you get.
I just did. I got number 5, Spencer Ginder.
Nice.
Congrats,
all right, so
Spencer.
Spencer's going to get himself a package in the mail. So we will reach out to Spencer right after we record this, and we will pop your prize in the mail.
Tyler, you know Spencer as well.
Mhm.
He is the one that I think he provided the flute when we did the scenario game 2 critical hit sessions ago.
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
beautifully painted.
flute that obliterated the sloop.
Yeah, that one.
Well,
Yeah.
his reinforcements are on their way.
Yep.
All right, and who came up with this next one? The
I
September
think
one?
I'm reading it if I remember correctly.
All right, go for it.
All right. So the rules, as usual, just email talesofthesale@gmail.com. Again, that's tales as in story, TALES, and sales as in the big sheets you hang on the boat, SAIL. By the end of the month, in this case it's September, or at least before we record the next podcast. Sometimes you can get an extra day, and considering that we're recording today on the 5th, oof. Yeah. Anyways, the prize this coming month will be 2 blisters of European sailors with muskets and the classic quintessential Tales of the Sail prize, a blister of Cannon Crew.
Gotta man those cannons, baby.
I'm gonna have to start painting these or something
Gotta press
when we
gang
send
'em.
them out.
They're just press gangers, guys. Come on, they're press gangers. All right, the question. In the mid-17th century, the Royal Navy made use of a careening wharf at Port Royal, Jamaica. In 1675, Port Royal became a somewhat official station when a British officer was appointed to oversee the docks there. However, after the 1692 earthquake sank Port Royal into the sea, the naval station was moved to this Jamaican city and would not return to Port Royal until 1735.
And the question is, what is the port?
Yes, what is the name of the Jamaican city to which the naval station was moved from 1692 to 1735?
Okay, that's easy to find, I would think.
It
See,
is.
grabs it. Upcoming events, plug. Tyler, you want to run down the list?
Yeah, I can run down the list. We have the Michigan GT is coming up from October 8th to 10th. Josh Shivek, he streams a lot of Oak and Iron. He's running a Friday sea battle and some demos. Saturday, he's running Oak and Iron. Sunday, he's running land battles and dedicating that entire day to Blood and Plunder. Historicon, we at No Dice are putting on an Iron Man event. So that is... Oh, did we get the dates for that? I don't think we ever put them into the outline.
We did not, but the Friday morning is Blood and Plunder, Friday evening is Blood and Valor, and Saturday is Oak and Iron.
That'll be Thursday, November 11th, Friday the 12th, Saturday the 13th. So
Cool.
basically, Thursday we have down as scenario and practice. What that means in reality is we're going to be setting up tables. If you want to just kind of meet us and play a casual game, that's the best time to grab us is Thursday. And
My plan.
then come in
Mhm.
Friday to play Blood and Plunder in the morning, I believe, and Blood and Valor in the afternoon. And then Saturday's the Oak and Iron. You don't need to play in all three of them. You can play in whichever ones you want. But if people do play in all three, I believe Firelock is prepared to provide some extra prize support and fun stuff for you.
And the person who places the best across all three gets an additional special prize.
But yeah, I think they got something big in store. When we have more information, we will let you know.
Yeah, Firelock hasn't even really spoiled it to us yet.
Yeah.
So,
Hopefully we'll get something next month.
and
Also, yeah, if anybody wants if anybody plays one system but not the other, feel free to come by Thursday and we will happily run you through a demo of whatever system you want. Like Tyler and Tom said, we can also play pickup games those days. Like when we say set up and practice, like it's not going to take us that long to set up
No.
the tables we need.
We also have practice armies for you guys. So like if you don't have
and loners. Yeah.
stuff, we can loan you an entire army, and we're happy to do that.
I promise I'll have more Oak and Iron painted up by then.
Yeah, I have my World War I stuff to finish up. Blood and Valor. All right, so moving on, we have on the 24th and 25th of September is Barragecon. Glenn might have to help me out. I think it's Havre de Grace, Maryland.
We say Havre de Grace because if you
Havre
said
de
it the
Grace.
French way, it
Havre
would
de
be
Grace.
impossible.
So Glenn is running that one. He's working on a scenario. I'll probably be down there running demos to support that.
I'm doing demos. That's all. It's Preston and I doing demos in the morning and afternoon. As far as I know, they haven't told me I'm not.
Cool. Okay.
So.
And then.
And we'll be there It's a 2-day convention, which I highly recommend people go to, but we will only be there on Saturday. So.
Okay.
There's that.
12th and 14th of November in Rochester, New York is Du Bois. There will be Blood and Plunder demos there, a treasure scramble scenario, and a 2-day land and sea tournament. It's kind of the alternative, the northernmost alternative to showing up for Historicon.
Yeah, so for those that are making the trip down, to Lancaster, that's an awesome opportunity if you are in the upstate New York area.
There will also be Adam Horton's Secret Santa coming up. This is a Facebook event that we put on, or really Adam organizes and puts on every year with the bigger Blood and Plunder fan page that's on Facebook. So definitely track that down, or if you're already there, keep an eye out for updates with the details, and he'll start pairing people off or taking information down for that one. Also, that's
always fun.
Yeah, it is a great time. I participated in it one year. I sent out, I think, some not the villagers, the civilians to somebody. I got a Piet Hain in return. Glenn and Tom have been matched up before, which was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny, yeah.
I sent stuff out to England. I think it was
Yeah, and you got hit with international shipping for the first
that's
time
right.
ever.
I forgot that happened to you.
Oh yeah, and it's just been a regular monthly occurrence since, it seems like.
Yeah, you're on the FBI watch list for sending out so many international packages.
Why does he keep sending packages the size of a fist?
Well, I have bad news for everyone on this podcast. I'm here. But anyway.
Oh, by the way, just a fun quick aside. So Dennis Campbell, who's in Canada, who's a friend of mine, I mailed him something. I forget what I mailed him, but he had asked for this painted mini or something. So I looked around in my basement for a box that was small enough to fit it. And the box that I found is a box that had been used apparently to hold like plumbing fittings and parts for this repair on my furnace that had to get done. So it had this residue on it that set off the bomb detector for the Canadian Customs people. And I had put this joke on it being like, I put a fake name as my return address too, which made it, I put it like not somebody shifty, but then like my correct address or something. So it wound up being a whole problem. He got called down to the customs office, and his wife is like, they clearly opened this package. They called you, like, who is this guy? And he was like not happy about it. It's pretty great. So I promise not to do that again to you, Dennis, if you do listen to this. But yeah, so Secret Santa could be resulting in international shipping, but you'll learn something.
Okay, wait.
Giving somebody a gift.
Wait.
That's relatively rare.
Adam did double check with me before he assigned me somebody in another country. Adam will.
Oh, that's true. Adam will hook you up.
Adam does his utmost to make sure that it is not going to cost you an arm and a leg to participate in this event. I would highly recommend participating in this event because they encourage, doing some like holiday related conversions or like making a diorama with not a diorama, but like, adding a Christmas tree in or winter clothes or something. The only reason my stuff went to England was because Adam contacted me and said, look, I need somebody to send something to England. Is it cool? And I just said, yeah, sure. Let's do that because I'd rather get somebody some cool stuff.
Which is cool. You make a great Santa, Glenn. You have the right beard and everything. I think I'm the only non-bearded person in this podcast today because Guy definitely has a beard.
Yeah.
I just always look like I'm a hobo, so I can't do it. You guys can pull it off. I just can't pull it off.
You guys be okay with looking like a hobo.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky because I don't know. There's teaching problems. So Guy, anything going on up in your neck of the woods, up in the Pacific Northwest?
Well,
Big
we
events
don't
still
have.
going down.
Now, most of them have been canceled for a while, and we don't have as many big gaming events over here. So that's not. I will give a shout out to the blog, bloodandpigment.com, but I'm sure most of the people listening to this have been over there. I just posted Joseph just posted a article today that I wrote. That's a review of the Buccaneers Companion. So that's cool.
Nice.
What's your local store there if you get to do events at stores like demos and stuff like that?
Geeks and Games in Oregon City. They have an extensive Blood and Plunder selection, and that's where we do all our demos and most of our games.
So I'll let you close off by just remind people how to submit final campaign things, because I'm going to do my best to get this released on Tuesday, on the 7th. So just tell them what's the process if you want to get in a final game.
All you have to do is play a game of Blood and Plunder or Oak and Iron, take a picture of the game, and then email bnpcampaign@gmail.com. You have to include your name, the faction or nationality you played, and put your picture in there. And then at the very bottom, let us know that we can use it in an article. It's very easy, just those 4 things to enter it, and you might win. Like, the game is so close. I'm not saying you shouldn't play for the Native Americans, Sweden, or Denmark, but the game is so close that if you play for one of the top 5, you might win, or play for all of them. Play 5 games of Blood and Plunder.
All right, I think that's a good note to end on. I know there's a sale, and I think the sale goes until the
September
15th.
12th.
The September 12th.
Yeah.
And that's 20% off of Firelock stuff, which includes pretty much everything we've been talking about.
Yep. So,
Alright.
Tom, get it out Tuesday.
I will do my best. I'm going to try to figure it out Monday night. I'm going to try not to stay at the Renaissance Fair too long. I have to start picking things. It seems as good a place as any to get the components of my Conquistador costume that my wife is way too excited to help get made. So
keep an eye out for
see
that
what I can
kilt,
find.
too.
I'll take some pictures for you.
Keep an eye out for that kilt too.
Oh, the Connecticut tartan. Yes, I will keep an eye out for that. I'm sure they have it. Watch, they're gonna have it there.
Just don't get raked over the coals for that one. Like, don't put out $300 for that, please.
I promise
Yeah.
not to pay $300 for a kilt. It's not gonna be happening. All right, you want to take us out?
Sure. Well, everyone, thank you once again for joining us. Again, as always, we can't do it without you. We really appreciate everybody contributing. As we said before, go check out their blog. It's awesome, even if you're not just doing the campaign. But yeah, so thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks so much for joining the show tonight. Remember to follow us on Twitter at No Dice, No Glory, and keep the conversation going on NoDiceNoGlory.com, now featuring our own message boards. Have a great night, everybody.